Right now, this second, the United States military is at a specific Defcon level. You don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. The government won't say. And that's completely by design. Defcon. 5 levels. A countdown towards something nobody wants to reach. Most people think they understand it. Movies have thrown the term around for decades, but almost everything pop culture taught you about this system is wrong. Today, we're going inside the machine. Not just what the levels mean, but who flips the switch. How the order travels from the Oval Office to a nuclear submarine sitting silent in the Pacific. And why the whole thing was engineered to work in under 30 minutes. It's 1959. The Soviet Union has a missile capable of reaching American soil. The US military has bombers, submarines, and bases scattered across the globe. And no unified language for, how ready are you right now? An Air Force base in England might be on maximum alert, while a Navy group in the Pacific was at normal. In a nuclear crisis, that ambiguity could cost you everything. So the Joint Chiefs of Staff introduced a single, uniform system. 5 numbered levels, the same across every branch, every command, every theater. Defense Readiness Condition, Defcon. Here's what movies consistently get wrong. Lower numbers mean higher danger. Defcon. 5 is calm. Defcon 1 is the edge of the abyss. Control sits at the very top of the US government. The President and Secretary of Defense authorize changes, which flow through the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and from there, through a nerve center buried inside the Pentagon called the National Military Command Center. The NMCC, the switchboard of American military power. Defcon 5. Codename, Fade Out. This is where the military lives most of the time. Training schedules run normally, soldiers take leave, bases operate at standard pace. But normal isn't nothing. Even at Defcon 5, carrier strike groups are deployed across the world's oceans. Ballistic missile submarines are on patrol right now, position unknown by design. NORAD is watching every blip of airspace over North America around the clock. Defcon 5 isn't everyone went home. It's the most powerful military in history running at its baseline. Forces are optimized for training and equipping, sustainability over urgency. Defcon 4. Codename, Double Take. Something caught your eye. You look again. Intelligence gathering intensifies. The political and military situation in an area of concern gets continuous analysis. Security at sensitive facilities tightens. Key personnel are placed on shorter recall timelines. Think of it as the military equivalent of something feels off. You're not grabbing your gear, but you're sleeping lighter. And here's something most people don't realize. Depending on the global situation, much of the US military may be at Defcon 4 right now, elevated above peacetime normal, but nowhere near crisis mode. Defcon 3, codename, Roundhouse. This is the most important level most people have never thought about. Because it's the highest level the US has reached as a global force in documented history. Personnel on leave are recalled immediately. Units consolidate. The Air Force goes onto a roughly 15-minute mobilization timeline. Aircraft fueled, armed, and ready to launch within 15 minutes of an order. But here's what often gets missed. Defcon 3 isn't just defensive. It's a signal. When the US went to Defcon 3 globally during the 1973 Yom Kippur War, because CIA intelligence suggested Soviet ships carrying nuclear weapons were heading toward Egypt, the Soviets saw that. It told them, "We know what you're doing, and we are prepared." That visible shift in readiness is part of the deterrence calculus. Defcon 2. Codename, Fast Pace. We've been here exactly once in documented history, partially, and it nearly ended everything. During the Cuban Missile Crisis, most US forces went to Defcon 3, but Strategic Air Command, the nuclear bomber force, was ordered to Defcon 2 independently. Nuclear-armed bombers were dispersed to prevent a first strike from wiping them out at once. Airborne alert missions began. Bombers in the air, loaded, at all times. Submarines moved to launch positions. launch timelines compressed to roughly 6 hours. The entire nuclear triad fully engaged within that window. And this is where the command architecture becomes critical, because the question of how an order travels from the president to a missile crew under 400 feet of ocean is not theoretical. The president is accompanied at all times by a military aide carrying the presidential emergency satchel, the nuclear football. Inside, pre-planned strike options and communication equipment. The president also carries a card called the Biscuit, a credit card-sized authentication tool with gold codes rotated daily by the NSA. When the president acts, the order flows to the NMCC, which generates emergency action messages, EAMs, transmitted through satellites, undersea cables, and aircraft like the E-6B Takamo. Take charge and move out. Specifically designed to reach submarines that never surface to receive communications. The whole system has to work even if the Pentagon has already been destroyed. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs is in the chain of communication, the president's primary military advisor, but not in the chain of authorization. The president authorizes. The military executes. This system was built for speed. An ICBM from Russian territory reaches US soil in roughly 30 minutes. A submarine-launched missile deployed closer to shore, potentially half that. The architecture was designed to match that clock. Defcon 1, codename Cocked Pistol. There are no confirmed records of the United States ever reaching this level, and the fact that you're watching this video is, in some sense, evidence of that. Every available force at maximum readiness. Nuclear weapons authorized for immediate launch, bomber crews on the runway with engines running, or already airborne. Submarines at final launch positions, missile silo crews awaiting the final codes to turn their keys. The distinction between Defcon 2 and Defcon 1 is the difference between a loaded weapon and a finger on the trigger. Defcon 2, we are ready if ordered. Defcon 1, the order has effectively been given. One thing worth understanding, Defcon isn't a single switch thrown for the entire military at once. Different commands can be at different levels simultaneously, which is exactly what happened during the Cuban Missile Crisis. That's surgical calibration, not a single alarm bell. And Defcon is one layer of a larger family of systems. FPCON covers base security against terrorism. InfoCar handles cyber posture. Each is calibrated for a different threat type. Defcon is the nuclear and strategic tier, at the top of the hierarchy because of what it controls. One last thing that reveals exactly how seriously the DoD takes miscommunication. Those code names, fade out, double take, roundhouse, fast pace, cocked pistol, aren't used in real-world alerts. They exist exclusively for exercises. Because without a separate vocabulary, a training message and a live Defcon directive would look identical on the wire. Personnel receiving a transmission would have no way to know, is this real or is this the drill? The wrong answer in either direction is catastrophic. So the code names are a hard technical separator. A message saying roundhouse is a training drill. A message declaring Defcon 3 through authenticated channels is the real thing. Every element of this system exists because someone thought through a failure mode. That's the engineering philosophy underneath all of it. The Defcon system is, at its core, a communication protocol. 5 levels capable of shifting the posture of the most powerful military in history across every ocean, every theater, simultaneously, on the authority of a single person. Built in 1959 for one specific nightmare. Still running today, layered with cyber and space components the original designers never imagined, but on the same foundational logic. A uniform language, a clear chain, a system designed to function even if the people at the top of it are already gone. So here's what I want to know. Do you think a system this powerful, built for a Cold War world, is still the right architecture for the threats we face today? Drop it in the comments. And if you made it this far, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It genuinely helps, and we've got a lot more of this coming.